So this kind of follows on from the what I was saying in my response to that person's question. And it's like, well, what do you do when you get the crushing blow? What do you do when the grief comes? And it could be grief, it could be fear, it could be depression, it doesn't matter, whatever it is, it could be any of those awful, difficult things that come to us and, they're just sort of so heavy. And it's like the most helpful thing you can know is that it comes in waves. So, like if we're talking about grief, you're out somewhere and then suddenly something reminds you of the person who left you or the person who's died, and you feel awful and you feel just out of nowhere you want to weep in the supermarket or whatever. And the most helpful thing to know is the nature of how this stuff works, and that it comes in waves. And if you try and squash it down, it never works. It always reminds me of like a sandwich. You squash it down, it comes out the side. So if you know it comes in waves, then you're kind of going, well, the more I let it come, the more I let it out, the more it will go pass through. Because when you try and stop it, it gets worse and you're holding it in and it builds up and the pressure builds and the pressure builds and the pressure builds. Whereas when you kind of go, oh, this just comes in waves, I'm just going to let it come, and then it will pass through. Then you've got a much better chance of it going through as slowly as it needs to. Because the difficult thing about when these things come in waves, it comes so hard, and it knocks the wind out of you. You're like, oh my God, I can't bear this. I can't bear this pain. But if you kind of know, oh, this is just a wave, it feels like it's lasting forever. It feels like this is never going to stop. But I know it is going to stop. If I just wait, if I just breathe, it will pass through. And that applies to pretty much everything. The knowledge that nothing lasts. When we're having the good times, we don't like to remember that. We don't like to remember nothing lasts. Because, well, I want the good times to last. But we know that the good times don't last, but also, and more helpfully, in the bad times when you've been kicked in the guts by a bit of grief, and you remember this will pass. This too will pass. It's one of the most helpful phrases to remember, particularly for when you're in pain, is this too will pass.